All right, let's talk about token burns. You hear about them all the time in crypto, right? It's pitched as this magic bullet, the one thing that's going to send a token's price straight to the moon. But what if that big, impressive fire is really just a little flicker? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and figure out if token burning is the real deal, a rocket launch, or if it's just, a puff of smoke.
So, why doesn't burning tokens just automatically make them more valuable? Well, the simple answer is that not all burns are created equal. It's this super common idea that less is more with tokens, but honestly, the truth is way more complicated than that. It really all boils down to the basics of how value is created in the first place.
Okay, so let's get down to brass tacks here. We have to talk about something called digital scarcity. Think about it. In a world where you can copy and paste just about anything with a single click, how on earth do you create something that's genuinely valuable? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. You have to make it rare.
I mean, a digital file isn't like a real-world object, right? You can copy it a million, a billion times, and it's still the same. That's exactly why a crypto token has to be scarce to have any value. Kind of like a diamond, or those limited edition sneakers everyone lines up for. But what happens when a project kicks off with like trillions of tokens? Yeah, that's when you've got a serious problem on your hands.
So, what do you do when you have way too many tokens floating around? Well, the most popular answer in the crypto space is you set them on fire. Metaphorically, of course. We are talking about the famous token burn. And the logic behind it is pretty straightforward, right? If there are fewer tokens in existence, then each individual token should be worth more. It's the exact same reason a super rare limited edition comic book is worth a fortune, while the one they printed millions of isn't. Projects are basically trying to manufacture that same kind of scarcity by burning tokens.
So how does this actually work? Well, it's pretty simple. The project takes a chunk of tokens and sends them to what's called a burner or eater address. You can think of it like a digital black hole. Once tokens go in, they can never, ever come out. They're just gone. Poof, permanently removed from the total supply.
Okay, so that sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Just burn some tokens, watch the price rocket up, and everybody's happy. But, and you knew there was a but coming, it's not always that simple. Not even close. The devil, as they say, is really in the details.
And this right here brings us to the absolute core of the issue, the problem of the slow burn. Because, let me tell you, when we're talking about token burning, not all fires are raging infernos. Some are just tiny little sparks.
Just take a look at this. That huge, massive bar, that's the total supply of a token. And that little, tiny sliver next to it, that's what's getting burned every year. I mean, come on, it's like trying to empty an entire lake with a teaspoon. The impact is practically zero. It's just not going to work.
And that is the absolute key here. It is not enough to just say you're burning tokens. You have to burn them at a rate that actually matters, a rate that makes a real dent in the supply. If you don't, you're basically just putting on a show for investors. It's creating the illusion of scarcity without any other real value.
So, what happens when that token burn is all smoke and no fire? Well, the fallout can be pretty devastating, not just for the project, but for everyone who invested in it.
Yeah, when a burn just doesn't deliver on its promise, it can set off this nasty chain reaction. First, the price goes nowhere. It just flatlines. Then, investor confidence completely craters. And before you know it, the project is getting left in the dust by competitors who actually have their act together. It is a total recipe for disaster.
Look, the difference between a bad burn and a good one, it's literally night and day. An inefficient burn is like a slow, dripping faucet, annoying but ultimately insignificant. An effective burn, on the other hand, is like a raging forest fire. One barely makes a ripple, while the other sends this massive, powerful signal to the entire market that the project is dead serious about creating long-term value.
So the big question is, how can projects avoid falling into this slow burn trap? Well, the answer is all about having a much smarter strategy for deflation. You see, a really successful strategy isn't just about burning tokens. It goes way deeper than that. It's about creating this positive feedback loop of scarcity and real demand. So what does that mean? It means you need a burn rate that actually has teeth. It means the token needs a real-world use case. And it means you need a whole toolbox of other deflationary tricks to keep that fire burning bright. Because at the end of the day, a token burn is just one tool in the toolbox. It's only one piece of a much bigger puzzle. The real goal, the only goal that matters, is to build a healthy, thriving ecosystem where value comes from genuine utility and real demand, not just from clever financial tricks. That, right there, is the secret to sustainable growth.
So,
From now on, when you hear a project talking about a token burn, I want you to ask a different question. Don't just ask, how many tokens are you burning? Instead, ask, how fast is the fire? Because when it comes to creating real lasting value, it's not about the size of the fire. It's all about the heat it generates.